Yeah,
the thinking process.
and idea is asking the question. So so actually the last part of my exercise for today, if you saw the I think the last slide, it actually has the topmost questions there.
Okay.
Where they were supposed to break into groups, and when one group presents, another group is supposed to ask a question or respond with, with their own opinion.
Yes.
You know, so I was trying to help to
what
guide
is the rationale for the way you organize this lesson? Like you had them respond and then reflect. What's the rationale for that?
Which part? Oh, why am I asking them to respond? And
yeah, remember
no, okay,
the Instagram one. They responded first by writing, then they had to reflect on what their friend said. What's the rationale for that?
Okay, well, this thing about this 1 minute talk, 30 seconds reflect, right?
Yeah.
I had gone for a workshop where we were made to do that with photographs, and it was so interesting because in such a short time, I had looked at so many different stimulus and gotten so many ideas that I was, oh my god, I don't have time to write this down. 30 seconds is not enough. And I felt such an extent. I remember as a, like, because we did the exercises ourselves, and I felt like, wow, there's so much thoughts that came in my mind from listening to somebody else, right? Which is why I wanted them to do that today, to read the short poem and then hear somebody else and then reflect on what they heard. So that was that part of exercise. The point about reflecting not on your own poem that you chose, but on their friend, is also to see how well they have listened to another person's thought and another person's presentation, being able to catch it, being able to capture the important thing, something that resonated with them, enough for them to say that, yeah, I would have picked that poem over my own. Yeah. So I think
why is that important? Listening to someone
I think listening, because when you listen to somebody else, it also deepens your own thoughts, right? It's also a bit like how, you know, when you listen to the teacher, how much of that did you remember? Right? So it's also about listening to your friends. And I think I also want them to be able to see quality in somebody else's response, because a lot of times students only want to hear what the teacher has to say. I don't like that aspect, because I mean, I'm confident in conducting a whole lesson by myself, but it shouldn't just be about my opinion, because then when I go through an exam paper, it's only going to be my answers coming back to me. But I want them to see that, you know what, between each other, we can give each other intelligent responses. Enough for me to intelligently talk about it then, so that later when you hear another person's response, you will also write that down. Because like sometimes, when we do annotations in class, the girls tend to, when you say something, they'll write it down. When their friends say, they don't write it down. So so I always pick on that, and I'm like, do you know how important what she just said was? It's so intelligent, even I can't say it that way. I'm going to let her repeat it. I hope you wrote it down because it's really smart. Then you're like, oh, then everybody will write. But which is why I didn't give responses today, because I wanted them. I don't know if you heard how what I was responding. I was agreeing with their responses. I was just kind of validating their friend's opinion. It also, I think, gives them like, hey, I said something that, there were 3 people my friend could pick, and she picked mine to talk about, and the teacher agreed with me. I think that intrinsic motive, that, the students need to feel that kind of like, I did well. There was one group, and I said, after that I said that, that one of the girls in that group said that it was girl power. And when I said that, girl immediately, she was writing on it, she just looked at, she was like, you could see that she was like very proud of herself. And I think that I like my students feeling that kind of, that thing where they feel happy about what they have said.
Right. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. So what would you say are the important values and dispositions that you want to foster in your class?
Value.
Or dispositions.
I think independent thought. For me, that's very important. I don't know whether it's because I'm like that, so I want my students to be that kind of thing. But I do think in today's the world that they are going to be going into, where they are increasingly bombarded with, media telling them this, fake news telling them that. They need to be able to discern information and think for themselves. Reflect maybe it's my upbringing was such that, or constantly, what is your opinion? Reflect on what you've just read. Reflect on what just happened. And I want my students to be able to do that for themselves. They are not always going to be in an environment where people can, a responsible adult is going to be able to guide their thinking. So they should be able to guide their own thinking. For me, that's important. We cannot just prepare them for school and exams. We have to prepare them for life. Like I said, I always tell them, literature is about life. If you have left school not realizing that, being able to empathize with someone else. If you see a classmate and you hate her, I always tell them, I say, if you see a classmate and you hate that classmate, it is more of a reflection of you than your classmate. It means that you yourself, you're filled with hatred. That's why you see that. What you see around you is a reflection of who you are inside. Nice, good people cannot see bad in the world because they are good people. So I always try to, for me, putting that value in is very important. It also helps, I guess, that I'm in a Christian school where values are very important. So I think in my teaching, I try to make them realize that there are classmates. Can you think of a classmate that you don't like, really don't like? Can think, okay, nothing of one good thing about her. If you can't think, say something about you, because everybody has a good and a bad. Then you bring it to your characters. So, for example, Cassius in Julius Caesar, they all don't like the character. I say, no, now you have to find something good about him. They're like, no, but he's a bad character. I say, that means you're not thinking it. You need to be able to find balance in life. There's something good about him. So then, then they work towards finding something good about him.
Okay, what about the routines that you set? What are some of the everyday routines that you set in the class, and how does that?
I have okay, I got standards for my girls. Okay, I always tell them there's your standard and then there's my standard. So you must always come to my standard. So very, very high. But achievable, right? So, which is funny because sometimes I'm like, how many of you have not done your homework? No, stand up. Then maybe one or two stand. How many of you have not done it to my standard? Then another 10 different girls will stand up, So they know that, you need to work hard to achieve. Okay, so certain things will be, different classes, like I said, different routines. For my Sec 4 pure girls, pure elective girls, finishing your annotation before my lesson is a must. Finishing up the accompanying questions is a must. Because I don't believe in spending too much time doing the basics, right? At the same time, like I said, I do give them, I scaffold it, that's one, and I also help them to get to it. I tell them where to find the answers. I'm not going to find the answers for you, I'm going to tell you where to get the answers from. But then in class, I always go through it anyway. Okay, that's for my express. For my NA, something similar, annotations and filling and doing those questions before my lessons. It's a must. You have to do that before my lesson. So those are like the basic. Then for handing in homework and all that, the girls are very good at that kind of stuff.
Okay, but what about discussion and all that? Is there any particular guidelines when they do group work or when they?
I think for me, for when discussion. Or when someone is presenting, then of course respecting the speaker is very important in my class. I always say that if one person is talking, you need to listen to that person. You cannot be just doing your own discussions or preparing for your discussion. That's cool. Another one would be almost every lesson, I would say 90%. You must either ask me a question, answer one of my questions, or give a comment. I started off years ago doing, you must answer one question before the end of the lesson. So I would say, example, I would start off by saying, okay, it's 10 o'clock now. You have until 10:30 to answer a question. Because I ask,
every single person.
Every single person. So I ask a lot of questions.
Verbally or?
Verbally. So as I'm discussing, I'm like, okay, so what do you think, what is your impression of this? Then like 5, 6, and so far. Then I realized that so then they feel like, okay, they've answered, I can relax, and I always tell them that questions will get increasingly more difficult as the lesson goes on. So that's. But then I realized that, with hindsight, may not have been the best because sometimes it's not about asking questions. It's not about answering my question. It's about asking questions. So I'll be like, you can even answer, just answer a question. So then we move to that. there's, I mean, of course, creating a safe environment is very important.
Yeah.
So always tell them that no matter what answer you give, I will never scold you, which I've always maintained. I've never ever, even if it's something I've just mentioned and you ask that same question, still doesn't matter. So always tell them, I say, it doesn't matter if you don't answer. If you get the answer wrong, they're like, no. What method? Where will you get in trouble? Then they're like, if